Well, it's official. Odell Beckham Jr. is a free agent. After clearing waivers, of course, the star wideout has a chance to find his new home for the rest of the season. OBJ not quite blowing the doors off this season. Only 17 receptions for 232 and no touchdowns with the Browns. Already mentioned he wants to land with a contender, so who's out there if you're thinking about adding, still maybe what we saw in the Giants, not so much the Browns. Potential landing spots, I mean, you can name it. It's probably more than this list, but looking at the top 5, the Raiders, they need options there. The Patriots would like to have something with Mac Jones, but if you want to stay in the NFC and contenders on that side, you got the Saints, Seahawks looking for weapons, and then the Packers, one of those teams that's been mentioned quite some time with Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams. That'd be pretty interesting in the NFC. Time to bring in senior NFL writer Jason Canfora with more on this. And JOC, OBJ gets a chance at the handpick of where he wants to go next. What makes the most sense for him and a team looking to add the wideout here?
Well, I mean, look, basically what we've got going on here is recruiting in the NFL. It's not college, but it might as well be at this point because the money's going to be about the same anywhere, right? He wants to be whole and get back to that 7.25 he would have made for the rest of the year. So you're looking at $3 million, maybe plus some incentives, right? And this is a prove-it situation. So he wants to show people what he can do to relaunch himself into free agency next year. That's why they voided 2 of those years that remained on his existing contract to get him through waivers and to set him up for this kind of situation. So, look, you've got people like Sean Payton calling, making their case. You've got people like Russell Wilson calling and making the case why, hey, Seattle, and here's what we could do together. And Kyle Shanahan. I mean, this is really sort of a battle a little bit for the heart and mind of Odell Beckham because the wallet's going to be pretty much the same anywhere. New England, we've seen Bill Belichick do this time and time again over the years with a veteran who's maybe a little down on his luck, maybe a little down on his value, and they go to New England, they build themselves back up, and they get paid there or somewhere else. I would expect we'd have closure in the next 48 hours. There's no rush to get something done immediately, but let's be real. Odell Beckham has been preparing for his exodus from Cleveland for quite some time and already kind of knew which teams, which offenses might fit him more than others. But I think in that graphic you had up there, teams 1 through 7 all have at least some degree of interest and all would at least be somewhat appealing, although the quarterback situation with, say, the Saints, with, say, the 49ers right now, that might make them a little bit more of a tough sell.
Interesting to see how that pans out for him. In Kansas City, don't think they'll be calling him, but they don't have a wide receiver problem. It's a whole offense there, JOC. Patrick Mahomes saying he's extremely confident that offense can get fixed. We're heading into Week 10. Can they flip a switch? Can they turn it around here? We're talking about one of the guys that, look, they won a championship not too long ago.
Yeah, I don't know about flipping a switch. I mean, there's certainly room for progress, without a doubt, because they have regressed. And I would say Odell Beckham would make sense there. I mean, they took this shot on Josh Gordon. That's not really bearing any fruit. Teams are clamping down on Kelsey. Tyreek Hill's been a little more hit or miss. They could use that third element, but they got to figure out the offensive line. They've got to run the ball more and stay more balanced. And they have to avoid turnovers. But Patrick Mahomes is not playing fundamentally sound football right now. And at some point, does he take a step back and reboot and come out and look like his old self with the same level of consistency we saw him play at that high level in the past? I don't know. But the defense has settled down quietly over the last month. The problem is now the offense is not playing complementary football. And I think some of it does start with Andy Reid, and they're going to have to embrace keeping it simple, stupid, taking what's there, avoiding the high-risk play, and running the damn ball.
All right, so we'll see what happens there. They're 5-4, so still in the picture if we're looking towards a postseason at some point. Let Russ cook might be something we might see on Sunday versus the Packers. Russell Wilson cleared to return since he's been gone. The Hawks have gone 1-3, not good at all. But assuming he's back to where he was before the injury, and they can get back to the 500 mark, are they a postseason favorite or a contender in the conversation?
I think they're certainly a contender. We talked a little earlier in the week about the NFC and some sussy teams who are going to get in the playoffs. Russell Wilson has been good for in a 16-game schedule, about 10 wins a year, and that usually puts you in the playoff equation. And the reality is, while the Seahawks weren't able to tread water with Geno Smith, We've seen the 49ers, really do nothing. Nobody stepped up in the NFC East. The Minnesota Vikings can't get out of their own way. You just look around at the other potential wild card teams. When Russ got hurt, the Panthers looked like, wow, what a defense, and they might be going somewhere. They don't have a quarterback right now. So, yes, I think there is certainly a road ahead that Russell Wilson could lead the Seahawks to some better terrain and keep them in that playoff race and get them to a wild card. They do have issues with their offensive line. They have issues keeping running backs healthy. The defense has been bad, but some flawed teams are going to get in the playoffs with this new format. That's just the reality, plus 17 games. So they've got Green Bay and they've got Arizona. If they start out 2-0 with Russ back, look out.
Yeah, Seattle 3-5, and look, we've seen it before. The NFC West work their way up back to the top with Russ. That gives them a better chance there. Jason Lockenford, as always, my friend, appreciate your time breaking down everything across the NFL. Hey, the fellas of the Pick Six podcast would do the same. Will Brinson and the Super Friends, Ryan Wilson and John Breach. I guarantee you their latest pod will probably be about OBJ and where he ends up the rest of the season. Download and give them a follow.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.